Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Laramie City Council to order. It is Tuesday, March 19th, first day of spring. And with that, I would invite you all to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would like. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, folks. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty. Absent. Pierce.
Here.
Richardson.
Here.
Shumway.
Here.
Somerville.
Here.
Cumbie.
Here.
Harrington.
Here.
That's 8 present and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. City Clerk, we're going to go ahead and move to public comment. If there's any member of the public who wishes to speak to the council on any item that is not on our agenda, go ahead and come forward in the room. Welcome. And we'll just need just your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. We have to ask.
Because none of us know.
Yeah, that's right.
Sally Palmer. I just want to quickly tell you the exciting event this Friday night at the Berry Center. It's in honor of World Water Day, and the presentations will include hydrologists and people from Wyoming assisting water transitions. And it should be a great event. It's going to be online and at the Berry Center. And I can email all the counselors if that's all right. Would you like? All right.
That's great.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night. Any other members of the public wishing to speak to the council on an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We'll move on to the Vice Mayor for setting the agenda.
I move that the agenda be set as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Cumbie, second by Shumway. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda has been set. Move on to proclamations, public hearings, and notifications. City Clerk, I'm going to go ahead and have you start with that public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held Tuesday, March 19th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Council Chambers, and via Zoom meeting for the following purpose. Original ordinance number 2085, adding Laramie Municipal Code 2.70, creating the Laramie Human Rights and Relations Commission. All information relative to this matter is available for review at the City of Laramie City Clerk's office at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present or may be represented by his or her agent at the meeting.
Thank you, City Clerk. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to the public hearing? City Clerk, you can let this person into the room. You do need to have your camera on. And if you are not speaking to the public hearing, you will be removed from the meeting immediately. And City Clerk, before you admit this person, I'm just going to note for the folks in the room who have kids, these have gone off the rails a little bit in a way that you don't want your children to hear, probably. We'll invite you right back in, or you can hang your call. I just want you to know they've at times drifted towards some pretty inappropriate stuff. Let's do that.
Okay. Hi, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
No, please turn your camera on.
Oh, how do I do that? Let's see here.
Mute this person if you can.
He got off. Oh, no, there he is.
That's not going to do it for us. Okay, we can remove this person. City Clerk, I have a feeling I know where that's headed. If you do have a comment, please feel free to email the council. Any other members of the public wish to speak to this?
It's okay.
Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. What a dumb thing we have to do. Sorry for that. We're finished with that now, so if they want to come back in, they're good.
I can let them know, thank you.
Thank you, sorry. Okay, we're going to move on to staff recognition. City Manager, if you want to go ahead and do that.
Thank you, Mayor. Announcements or recognitions? I'm sorry.
Let's go ahead and start with the staff recognition. We'll move on to announcements after that.
Wonderful, thank you. I am very happy to be able to share with you tonight that our rock star of the month, or our employee of the month, as we like to say, is our D crew from the utilities section of the city. That D crew consists of 3 people. That is Jason Alcorn and Sam Schuler and Jason Baker, and they're all with us tonight. Wanted to tell you a little bit about why they were nominated. They recently stepped up at the request of other staff from other departments in the city to assist at the recreation center with taking down some of the cast iron pool pieces in the indoor leisure pool, a little out of their job description, still pertains slightly to water, but we were so appreciative of the kind of cross-departmental collaboration and having those extra hands-on duty. Speaking more directly, though, to the work that the D crew does on a regular basis, these folks have, between the 3 of them, about 16 years of experience with this organization, obviously much greater number years of experience elsewhere. Jason's been with the city since August of 2017, and he's called Laramie home for about 21 years, so was really, we were thrilled to have him as a Wyotech alum join our team, and he has just really been a fantastic addition to the D crew. Sam Schuler's been 4 years with the city. He applied for this position and came on board in May of 2020 at the suggestion of another employee. And one of the things that Sam said is that his proudest moment as a crew leader is overseeing a team that worked 24 plus hours on a 16-inch water main break on 30th and Grand this last summer, which we all remember fondly or not fondly, I guess, depending on what the level of work that we had to do was related to that. So I appreciated that observation. Sam's a native of Laramie, and I believe a Laramie High School graduate. And then Jason Baker's been with us since July of 2023, the 3rd member of D crew. He's also just been such a great team member and a great addition. 6 months after starting with the city, he moved to his level 1 utilities operator certification after achieving licenses from DEQ for both water distribution and collection systems. So just a really fantastic team. My favorite thing I wanted to share with you tonight, though, is they shared their, I guess you would say, your favorite quotes or the things that sort of motivate them in the work that they do. And there were 3 things. It was well done is better than well said, respect is earned and loyalty returned, and keep moving forward. So we appreciate the dynamic and applaudable work ethic these folks have, and we're thrilled to have them here tonight. Welcome, guys. Come on up.
Sam, Jason, welcome, and thank you for being here. We appreciate the work you do for the city. The floor is yours. Just push the button, the green light will come on, and your microphone's on.
Well, thank you all for having us here. We're thrilled to be recognized as Rock Stars of the Month, and we'll use the better microphone. Thank you. And, you know, we just, I think I speak for all of us when we say that we really enjoy our jobs. We like the camaraderie, the challenges. I think we're all 3 guys that really like a challenge and like to use our heads and come up with different solutions. And as a native Laramieite, I love this town. That was one of the reasons I joined utilities. Was I felt like after a career working at a lumberyard with my dad, living here my whole life, it was a great way to help out my town, the town I plan on living my whole life in and raising my children in. So thank you for recognizing me.
So I would like to thank Todd Fieser for nominating us. It was really good working with his guys out at the rec center. I mean, that was really good. I don't know, team building, I guess, in a way to say. Those guys stepped up with us, and we kind of got an impossible situation taken care of out there. There was a lot of things we couldn't break in that pool because we couldn't find parts, and we worked around it. So, yeah, I would like to thank those guys also for the help and letting us take part in that. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got. Yeah. What you got?
I mean, you guys just got it all, but I'm fairly new. I've only been here 8 months, almost 9. And I have a previous background working with pretty much what B-Crew does, water main breaks and things like that. But coming over here and working with these 3 guys, it's been great because they're challenging and they give me challenging jobs sometimes. And they're great leaders. They do an awesome, fantastic job, and just like stepping up and doing what we did at the rec center. Put our heads together and got it done. And that's the way I think it should be. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you, council. We appreciate the recognition.
Yeah, thank you guys. And we'd love to take a photo with y'all. And in particular, we're just really appreciative you came.
I did. I'm on call.
Come on up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mikey, you're gonna.
City Manager, I'll move on to you for announcements.
Thank you. Mayor, we have 2 announcements tonight, and I will let Brooks Webb lead off with Public Works announcement.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I had asked Sam to talk about how great his director was, I guess. But anyway, here we are. I just wanted to let you know about the 15th Street closure. I'm sure you're aware, but basically we worked with the university on getting that street closure in place. They're working on putting in the wastewater infrastructure for the dormitory project. So they've started that work there. They've got it fenced off pretty good. They put in a lot of fencing around to keep pedestrians out of the area because it's a high pedestrian area. So anyway, we worked through that with them. They closed it down on March 7th. We can pretty much expect that to be closed most of the summer at this point until they get that in. There's the digging in that street stuff. There's lots of pipes and lines going everywhere, so it's slow work. As we worked through that with them, we met with emergency services to make sure they had access for emergencies in there. I know at least the fire department went out and actually walked once they got the fences up to check all their access points and make sure everything was in order. So anyway, 15th at Ivinson closed up to Sorority Row at this point until further notice, but probably in most of the summer.
I appreciate that update. I think a lot of folks are wondering, folks that didn't know it was coming and sort of tried to drive to work and couldn't, have reached out. So I'm sure everybody's been hearing that. So thank you, Brooks.
Thank you.
City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. And then I have the second announcement this evening, and I just wanted to let members of the public and also the council know that we've started in earnest our spring recruitment for filling summer jobs here at the city of Laramie. And I think it is not always understood that the city hires a lot of temporary or seasonal positions to help us through the increase in workload that occurs in the summer. So I just wanted to tell you, and you can tell your friends and anyone that's listening, that we are really looking for good employees for the summer. We've got positions open right now in aquatics and recreation, in mosquito control, in integrated pest management, cemetery, parks, and I think that's the extent of the seasonal jobs right now. But if you know people that are interested, that's a big staffing up effort that we undergo every year, and looking for great people. So thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Any other announcements?
That is everything. Thank you, Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Council members, any disclosures this evening? Okay. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Motion by Cumbie, second by Richardson. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty. Absent. Pierce.
Here.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Here.
Somerville.
Hold on, folks. Just not roll call. Yeah, there it is.
Cumbie.
We're going to take here's as yeses. That's what we're going to do. I think that's what they meant.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor, because I didn't even pick up on that. I was just marking them away.
I didn't the first time, and then I was like, something's wrong.
So if anybody wants to change their here from yes to no, because it is no now.
It was a no. Okay.
Cumbie.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. 2 years. Thank you, City Clerk. Consent agenda has been approved. We'll move on to the regular agenda. I'm going to recognize Councilor Newman for item 11.
I move to award the bid for 8 SUV police package patrol vehicles with trades to Young Automotive Group in Ogden, Utah, in the amount not to exceed $325,700 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Newman, seconded by Cumbie. Director Webb.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, back in October 22, we brought you a bid award and contract for 8 police cars. And then in January of 2024, we received notice from the manufacturer that they were not going to build those cars. So we came back to you in February with a resolution to cancel that contract and go back out to bid, and we did that. We received 2 bids. The low bidder was Young Automotive Group out of Ogden, Utah. They have 8 vehicles sitting on the lot, and I hear they have transport set up for next week if you approve this tonight. Staff reviewed the bid documents, and we're recommending Young Automotive for award. I'll take any questions if you have them.
Council members, any questions? Director Webb, that feels like some sort of significant end of the pandemic type of moment. It almost feels unreal to buy something that exists. Okay. We'll go to the public on this. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item, please go ahead and raise your hand. Come forward if you're in the room. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Council, any comments? City Clerk? Oh, Councilor Shumway, sorry.
I should have asked this question. Are these vehicles coming equipped, or do we have to equip them after they arrive?
Councilor Shumway, through you, Mayor. When we purchase these vehicles, they are not upfitted, if you will. So they'll actually deliver them to, I'm assuming you're using Bearcom, to Bearcom down in Colorado. Bearcom puts in all the stuff, right? All the radios, the printing on the car, and they do all that. We've probably got some down there right now still, don't we? We got all the other ones back. We got them all back. So the last ones we got them back. So yeah, they'll actually deliver them straight to Bearcom. PD works with Bearcom to get what they need upfitted on the vehicles, and then they're brought up here.
Any other questions? Good question, Councilor Shumway. Okay, City Clerk, I'll have you call the roll, please.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty. Absent. Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We'll move on to item 12. Councilor Richardson.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to award the bid for the 41T3 Municipal Well Pump Installation Project to Cahoy Pump Service in the amount of $96,242, plus a contingency of $20,000 for a total amount not to exceed $116,242,000, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, seconded by Newman. Director Webb.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, as I'm sure you're aware, back in 2022, we drilled the 41T3 well up on 45th Street. We're at the point now that we went out to bid for pump installation, piping, and electrical service there. That way we can get the pump in, move some water so that we can finish our well completion permit with the state engineer's office. We got 3 bids in. We're recommending the low bid Cahoy pump service. Take any questions if you have them.
Any questions, council members? All right, to the public on this item. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item can come forward in the room or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. All right, seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period. Back to the council for any comments. If my understanding is correct, Director Webb, this gets us to the point of completion of the well, right? Okay, great. And it does not tie it into city services at this point.
Yeah, Mayor, this is well completion. To tie it into the system is beneficial use, which we'll be going after later. We're currently under design for the pump house and treatment center that'll go there. So we'll be back at a later date to talk more about that one.
Thank you, Director Webb. All right. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Richardson.
Yes?
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty. Absent. Pierce.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We'll move on to item 13. Vice Mayor Cumbie, please.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2085, adding Laramie Municipal Code, Chapter 2.70, creating the Laramie Human Rights and Relations Commission on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Cumbie, seconded by Richardson. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, this item's on second reading, Council, and this would add to the city's advisory board structure a new advisory board that would be staffed by volunteer citizens that you appoint. That would be the Human Rights and Relations Commission for the city of Laramie. HRCBs are very common across the country. This, for some reason, would fill a gap that we have had in this community for an unknown amount of time. What this advisory board would do is make recommendations and provide advice and direction to city staff on matters pertaining to human rights and relations, and I'm getting to the right page here. The mission of the committee, as stated in the ordinance, there we go, is to uphold Wyoming's constitutional declaration that all members of the human race are equal by working to defend the dignity of and worth of all people. This board, if approved by you, could serve as a public forum for achieving understanding and cultural awareness in the community. The board could recommend or offer programs, activities, special events, recognitions, and other educational information. The board could also be a sounding board for city officials to understand changing societal conditions and also to help advise us on strategies that would make municipal government services, programs, and systems more inclusive and accessible for every resident of Laramie. There is really not much else to it. The body as proposed right now is a 7-member board that would be staffed largely with citizens, although the city manager and a member of city council would act as non-voting liaisons to the commission. Bylaws are in your packet. They will be, if this moves on to third reading, they will be a complementary motion. So on third reading, if we go there, you would approve the ordinance and the bylaws as companion items, and we would get busy implementing the board.
Thank you, City Manager. Council members, do you have any questions at this point? And I believe we still need a motion to appoint a member of council to this. Is that correct? Or should we wait till third reading?
Mayor, you certainly can wait till third meeting, till third reading or the next meeting, yes.
Great. Okay. We'll do that. I had a question about maybe the semantics of it. To me, I'm not sure if this is going to be a question. I apologize if we don't get there. But to me, human relations feels a lot like human resources. And it's been something that I've been sort of like trying to parse out. And I'm just looking for somebody maybe to convince me that that's what we should call it. To me, the Human Rights Commission feels much more pointed as a way of explaining what we want this board to do. And so I wonder about if there is from staff maybe an explainer about relations and the purpose of having. I might just be hung up because it's harder to say. Like that, I think that's entirely likely. So curious if you all have any thought there, or if a council member feels strongly.
Mayor, I'll tell you for my purposes, I'm not committed strongly either way. As to what the name of the board would be. Human Rights Commission is absolutely acceptable in my mind, but the way that we've drafted the purpose and mission of this board is fairly broad, and so for that reason, I included human rights and relations. And that gets back to what I just mentioned, the point about building understanding amongst community members. To me, that's more about relations. Brandon Moen has stepped up here. As you know, Brandon, in my office, did a lot of the research on HRCBs and comparing this very issue of human rights commissions versus human relations commissions. So he could probably give you a little background in terms of what is customary around the country, but I think at the end of the day, it's up to council to decide what you'd like it to be called.
Okay.
Brandon, are you comfortable with it? Okay.
Yeah, please, anything to add? We'd love it.
Yeah, so as the city manager said, we did do research on this previously. We gathered information on a number of commissions and committees and the way that they had the nomenclature of their naming. All of these were taken from cities with higher education institutions, city manager form of government, very similar to us. Almost across the board, they were Human Rights Commission, but that didn't really have a say on how that commission was carried out, if it was quasi-judicial or rather advisory. It's, for the most part, it's entirely up to the will of the council how they'd like it named. For instance, Edina, Minnesota, Human Rights and Relations Commission, that's a advisory commission, but they named it similar to the naming that we currently have. So it was structured very similarly to the proposed ordinance here. But again, there isn't a direct correlation. They're typically one leaning one way or the other, but there isn't any direct correlation requiring it to be named one way or the other.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
I think that the inclusion of relations expands the scope, just in its title, that human rights then, to me, tends to narrow it into certain perspectives, and then relations goes beyond that to include some of the mission and the purpose, and that's to serve as a public forum, to build understanding, recommend programs, activities. So to me, a lot of that is relational. I do agree with you. I was at a meeting on Monday and reported about the Human Rights and Relations Commission, and I stumbled getting all of that out. So it doesn't come out really, I will get used to it, but I do think, in my opinion, that it broadens the scope.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other council members? Okay, Councilor Richardson, please.
I could go either way. It doesn't really matter much, but I also, when I see human and then relations later, it makes me think HR also. Like, that's something in my mind. But if the purpose is to just kind of shorten that and get rid of it, I think it could just be Human Rights Coalition. But I also understand that. I mean, it could also be like Human Rights and Outreach Coalition. I mean, there are a number of things, but anyway, I don't have a strong feel.
Sure. Okay. Anyone else? One of the things I was thinking was not particularly about narrowing it, but in the idea of, like, building understanding. I thought building understanding of what, and it would be of human rights. Okay. Right? But maybe that was my thought on it. But I might be grasping. I might be like reaching to try to get to the thing I think sounds easier to say. And I think that's entirely possible. But I thought that was maybe the human rights was kind of the central piece, and then the sort of like educational pieces would be attached, but either way.
And I can go with that. I think I might be just wordsmithing, nitpicking. So I will say that at that meeting, there were 30-plus people at a public meeting present, and there was very positive response that we as council are doing this.
That's great to hear. Yeah, City Manager, please.
Mayor, I'll just pass forward to you what Brennan had just mentioned to me. You know, he had shown me a couple of the other sort of peer communities that we looked at. They would refer to it not so much as just general human relations, but human rights and community relations. So there's an option if you want to add another word and not go the other way and take words out. Okay. That would work better. But I see your point about human resources, and it sort of feels that way, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, I can't do anything with that, but that's my feelings. But I don't hate the community relations. I just worry about, we had those conversations last week about our board straying a bit. And so one of the things I was thinking is like maybe being quite precise would be helpful. So we don't end up with a community relations board and somehow accidentally over the next 25 years lose the human rights piece and instead end up with the community relations piece. But, you know, that might be a pessimistic view of where this is headed that isn't helpful. So, Councilor Newman.
And I don't like the name either. I think it's pretty long, and I look at, obviously, the HR guy, look at the HR part of it as well. And I was wondering if we could use, you know, we're trying to restructure some of our boards and commissions anyways, to where maybe some of the other ones could use the relations word instead of this one. Something to think about, but I'd like to make a motion, if I could, Mayor.
Of course, yeah.
I would like to make a motion to rename this to just the Human Rights Commission, and I guess I need a second first, huh?
I'll second.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. Motion by Newman, second by Richardson. Councilor Newman.
The reason why is if you look at the bylaws, it's always referred to as the HRC in here, and I think it just makes sense to me to get part, even if they're doing the relations part, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the title.
Council members, any discussion? Councilor Pierce, please.
Yeah, so now I have to decide.
Sorry.
I was perfectly fine not deciding. And just keeping it as is. So, anyway.
Oh, I like that was your comment. I had more.
Do I go yes? Do I go no? I don't know.
Well, we'll see if we can kill some time here for you to decide. Anyone else? Councilor Gabriel, please.
I'm going to side with the vice mayor on this. I like the idea of it broadens the scope of the commission. You know, it doesn't, I could go either way on it, but I think what we have in front of us is adequate, and so I'm going to vote against.
Okay. Anyone else for the first time before we go back to Councilor Newman? Councilor Newman?
I think if we narrow it, though, we won't have any more discussions on boards and commissions on what they should be doing, what we should be using them for, and so on, because we've had 2 work sessions on this. So I think like the narrowed part of it, as the mayor stated, we don't lose track of what the board is specifically for over time, which is what I think some of these boards and commissions have lost over the time. So that's it.
Thank you, Councilor Newman. Vice Mayor?
Councilor Newman, I find you quite persuasive on this, so I could go either way, so
it's gonna be,
I get to vote almost last.
Our lack of resolution is really pretty funny. Everybody seems quite content either way. Okay, we're going to go to the public on this item. If there's any members of the public wishing to speak to it, go ahead and come forward or raise your hand if you are on Zoom. Okay, seeing none, closing public comment period. Back to the council. This is on the amendment. City Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
Gabriel.
No.
Newman.
yes.
O'Doherty, absent. Pierce.
No.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
No.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumbie.
It's quite the spot you found yourself in.
Oh, boy. No.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 4 yeses and 4 noes,
And
Your
City
Honor.
Clerk, so it fails then, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, that motion has failed. We're back to the main motion. Any council members have any thoughts at this point? Okay, we'll go to the public. Any members of the public wish to speak to this? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Back to the council before the vote. Vice Mayor.
We do have one more reading, so we can think about this for a couple weeks.
Now everyone knows they'll be asked again.
But can we bring back the same motion?
I don't believe you can.
Oh,
I don't think so.
Unless somebody chooses to reconsider their vote, correct, City Manager? Can somebody bring it back for reconsideration?
Yeah, you could reconsider.
Somebody who voted no
No,
would have to
could
change their vote,
reconsider.
right? That's the only way that can go. Okay.
Although we don't have a majority, Mayor, so it does leave us in an interesting, but they are the prevailing side, so you're right. It would be, yeah.
Get to Erin O'Doherty when she gets
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
town.
somebody call her. Okay. Council members, we're on the main motion, and I'm going to open to the public again because I'm so lost as to where I'm at. Any members of the public wishing to speak to the main motion here, go ahead and come forward in the room or raise your hand if you are on the Zoom call. Seeing none, back to the council before the vote. All right, council members, on second reading, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Richardson.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty, absent. Cumbie.
yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved on second reading. We'll move on then to item 14, which is public comment on non-agenda items. If a member of the public wishes to speak to the council on an item not on the agenda, go ahead and come forward in the room or raise your hand if you are on Zoom. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Item 15, any future work sessions, council members? Okay. Councilor Pierce, item 16.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, seconded by Richardson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Council members, we are adjourned.